We're always talking about how fast technology is moving, but
Yeah.
it's pretty rare to see something just bam, hit an entire sector and completely fracture a career path that's been around for, what, 100 years? Today we're talking about the legal world, and specifically how generative AI is just rewriting the rule book for young lawyers.
It's a really profound shift. It's not just about efficiency. Historically, a junior associate's first few years were all about volume. I mean, the whole billable hour model depended on it.
Right, thousands of hours of the grind.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
grind, discovery, exhaustive research, reviewing mountains of documents, initial drafts, all of that.
And now that entire model is just being, well, disrupted by AI tools that work at machine speed. So our mission today is to really dive into the material you've pulled together and understand what this actually means. If the machine is doing the grind, what on earth is a young lawyer's job now?
The answer that's emerging, and it's pretty clear from the sources, is this new role, the AI supervisor.
The AI supervisor.
Yeah, it's a necessary evolution. It transforms that junior lawyer
Yeah.
from someone who just produces volume into a kind of technology steward, a compliance gatekeeper.
Okay, let's unpack that. Before we get into the new job itself, let's set the stage with the tech. I mean, we're not just talking about a fancy spell check, right? When we say generative AI is changing law firms, what are we really talking about under the hood?
We're dealing with very advanced machine learning models, specifically ones that are exceptional at natural language processing. You've probably heard the term large language models, or LLMs.
The LLMs, yeah, they're everywhere.
Right. And in a legal context, these are trained on just massive amounts of data case law, statutes, contracts, you name it. What makes them a game changer is that they're generative. They can actually create new text, summarize a complex argument, or even translate legalese. They don't just categorize things that already exist.
And what about those specific tasks, the ones that used to be the bread and butter for an associate, that are now falling to these models?
Think about the biggest time sinks. E-discovery is a huge one. AI can now do predictive coding. It can recognize key people, dates, legal concepts buried in millions of emails
So finding the needle in the haystack.
instantly. It also does the first pass on contract reviews, flagging clauses or risks, and it can draft the initial versions of standard legal briefs or memos.
The time and cost difference here has to be what's driving firms to adopt this. It's not just that it's faster. It seems like it completely changes the economics.
Oh, it fundamentally alters the pricing structure. Precisely. If you look at the numbers, it's just staggering. A task that might have taken, say, 40 junior associate hours to bill for.
Like reviewing merger documents.
Perfect example. That can now be done by an AI tool in maybe 40 minutes. It's a massive shift. So firms are no longer just selling hours. They're selling value. They're selling insights. They can slash their operational costs and put their human lawyers on high-stakes strategy, client consultation, things that require real judgment.
That speed becomes the key competitive advantage. Can you give us a really concrete example of how that speed gives a firm a legal edge?
Yeah, of course. Think about litigation support. Historically, if you needed to find relevant precedents for a really novel legal argument, it could take a team weeks of slogging through libraries and databases.
Months.
Right. Now, an AI tool can analyze decades of judicial opinions, find those outlier cases or conflicting precedents in hours, maybe even minutes. It lets firms build these incredibly comprehensive data-driven arguments almost instantly. It's a speed a human team just can't match. This isn't just a small improvement. It's an order of magnitude leap.
So, okay, if the machine is doing all that heavy lifting, the firm still needs a human for accountability, for judgment, and to manage the machine. This is where the AI supervisor comes in, but it's not just a lawyer who's good with computers, is it?
No, not at all. Far from it. This is a strategic role. It's designed for young lawyers who have that deep traditional legal foundation. They get liability, they get client duty, but who also have a really robust technical grasp of the AI systems themselves. It's a true synthesis of law and technology management.
The material really emphasizes that this role is about managing the human-AI collaboration. So let's break down those core responsibilities. First one is training and maintaining AI systems. What does that even look like for a lawyer? You're not a coder, so how do you train an algorithm?
That's a great question. This is where legal expertise meets prompt engineering. When we say training, we're really talking about creating high-quality feedback loops for the model. For instance, the AI drafts a contract clause. The supervisor reviews it, corrects a legal error, and feeds that correction back in.
So you're not changing the base model, you're just fine-tuning it for your firm's specific needs.
Exactly. You're refining your firm's proprietary workflow. It requires understanding what kind of input, what kind of prompt gets you the best, most compliant output. You're constantly refining that strategy.
Okay, and the second big responsibility, managing the data flow between the legal team and the tools. In the legal world, data isn't just data, it's client confidentiality, it's security.
100%. The AI supervisor is basically the guardian of that data. They have to know where sensitive client information is going, how the LLM is processing it.
Whether it's in-house or on some cloud service.
Right. And they have to ensure that the firm's use of AI doesn't violate any data privacy laws, like HIPAA for a healthcare client. Managing this is absolutely critical for client trust. It avoids catastrophic breaches.
And that flows directly into the third one, which feels like the most sensitive, ensuring the ethical use of AI. This gets at that classic tension between efficiency and doing things right.
It really does.
Yeah.
The supervisor has to actively manage the risks that are just inherent in machine learning. That means checking the results for systemic biases that might come from the training data. For example, what if the model's case summaries consistently disadvantage a certain group of people?
Or hallucinations. I've heard about that, where the AI just makes things up.
A very real risk. The AI can confidently cite a completely non-existent case. So the supervisor has to put strict verification protocols in place. They are the ethical audit layer that prevents malpractice and ensures a client's interests aren't hurt by a faulty machine output.
And the final piece is assessing that output.
Yes, this is the final legal stamp of approval. The supervisor is that last human checkpoint. They assess whether the AI's generated content, its draft, its strategy, meets all the industry standards and legal doctrine. It requires a deep understanding of the system's limits, knowing when to step in and when the output is good enough to go.
So this is a demanding job description. It requires a huge jump in technical literacy, way beyond what law schools have traditionally taught. For the next generation aiming for this kind of strategic role, what skills do they need to be building right now, besides just passing the bar exam?
The key is the ability to bridge two very different, very specialized world's law and data science. So let's start with that technical understanding of AI. You don't have to be a coder, but you do have to think systematically.
Okay, so what does that mean in, practical terms? What's the first thing a young lawyer should go learn about AI?
They need to get concepts like model confidence scoring. They need to know how certain the AI is in its answer and when to just throw out a low confidence result. They also have to get good at prompt engineering. That's the art and science of asking the AI questions in a way that guides it toward legally accurate and useful answers. That's how you really leverage the system instead of just being a passive user.
That makes sense. It's moving from just using a tool to actually directing it. The second skill, then, is obviously the deep legal knowledge, but with this added layer of ethics on top.
Absolutely. The supervisor needs real expertise in these niche areas that AI touches directly. Things like data privacy laws, intellectual property for AI-generated content, regulatory compliance for automated decisions. Their legal knowledge isn't just about applying laws. It's about predicting how an algorithm's use could create new legal risks. And a huge part of that is making sure the system doesn't introduce or amplify societal biases into legal decisions. That's a major compliance issue.
And finally, the skill that seems to tie it all together, collaboration and communication. This person is sitting right between two very different professional cultures.
That's the whole crux of the role, really. The AI supervisor has to be a fluent translator. They need to be able to talk to the senior partners, explain the AI's capabilities and its limits in plain, non-jargon legal terms. And at the same time, they have to communicate the firm's legal and ethical rules to the IT and data science teams who are actually building the backend.
If they can't translate that legal risk into a technical requirement, the whole thing falls apart.
It fails.
Yep.
Exactly. Strong, clear communication is the difference between a successful tech integration and, frankly, serious professional liability.
This all suggests this isn't some temporary trend. This is a permanent, high-value career path being created in real time. For young legal professionals, this is a chance to be pioneers, not just cogs in a machine.
It instantly elevates their strategic value. By mastering this blend of law and tech, they're positioned to be the architects of the next decade of the legal industry. They can go from being a junior resource to an indispensable partner very, very quickly.
And the sources are clear that this helps firms everywhere, better client service, better workflow, and just staying competitive. If your rival firm is using these tools and you aren't, you are at an immediate, massive disadvantage.
And that creates huge openings for leadership. The AI supervisor role is just the start. It's not a static position. As the AI gets more specialized for, say, corporate compliance versus complex litigation, we'll see this role branch out. We're going to see future leadership tracks focused on things like legal AI strategy or even legal technology development.
Or whole specialty around the ethics of algorithmic governance.
Exactly. It's a whole new field opening up.
So it's not about billing the most hours anymore. It's about creating the most leverage through technology. This is arguably the highest leverage career path a young lawyer can get on right now.
I would agree. It's the most direct route to having real strategic influence early in a legal career. They're not just using the tools. They are defining the tools and the standards for how they're used.
So to bring this deep dive to a close, it's clear the integration of AI is a complete transformation. It's pushing young lawyers into this strategic operational oversight role. The material confirms that the demand for skilled people who can manage these powerful, complex AI systems is just going to keep growing.
And developing this blend of legal expertise and technical AI knowledge, it's not optional anymore. It's the core requirement to stay competitive. Embracing this AI supervisor path is really embracing a future defined by both technological mastery and legal accountability.
We know now that the competitive edge of every major law firm is going to depend on the quality of their human AI collaboration. And that brings us to the final thought we should probably mull over as we watch this all unfold.
Considering the complexity of overseeing these self-learning algorithms while dealing with incredibly sensitive client data, how can the AI supervisor maintain complete verifiable transparency in all AI-driven legal processes? I mean, how do you secure that unwavering client trust, especially as the algorithms themselves become more and more like a black box?